Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Uh, Tonight, I'm not drinking on anything tonight, man. I'm drinking on some Powerades tonight. I know I've been gone for a couple weeks. A lot of things has been going on. Um, School, uh, where I'm from, school is out. I know some of y'all still got a week or two left of school. Um, I was on vacation, just enjoying myself, relaxing and everything. Enjoying the playoffs. Congratulations to the Knicks for advancing to the NBA Finals for the first time since '99. That's 27 years. And of course, we got to wait to see who they play. It's either OKC Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs, which, that has been to me, a great series. But, obviously there's some controversy around that as well, in terms of the officiating. But um, yeah, so it's been I've been doing good. I hope y'all been doing great as well. But since I've been talking about school and everything. First and foremost, I just want to say congratulations to all the graduates out there, high school graduates, even college graduates. Congratulations to every last one of you. You deserve it. I know there's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of people don't, some people think that especially when it comes to high school graduation. Um, it's easy, but it's not easy. For a lot of students, it's hard work. It's hard work just to get to that point and everything. And so, congratulations, hard work does pay off. And I wish all of the graduates from high school and college the absolute best in your future. But speaking of graduates, let's talk about what's been going on in terms of graduation ceremonies. I know you guys have seen, I don't know how many different videos, um, and it's been a lot. I'm gonna talk about a different issues when it comes to graduation. Um, First and foremost, when did fights become a thing at graduations? And I've seen it not just on the high school level, you've seen it like at a fifth grade graduation or a pre-K kindergarten graduation, um, eighth grade graduation. You've seen it on all levels, right? You know, it's a time where you can celebrate, you know, that student's accomplishment. And yet, graduations I've seen have been, you know, ruined. The ceremonies have been ruined because of people fighting. It's unfortunate. There's no place for it. It's all about the students. If y'all have an issue with it, do it after the ceremony is over with. Um, it's a it's a lot, and you can look at it from different reasons. Um, Probably you have some parents out there disturbing um the ceremony by cheering so loud to where nobody can hear their own kid being called, their names being called, because you want your kid to be, you want to hear their names. You want to see them walk across the stage and hear their names being called. Um, but you have, unfortunately, and here's the thing: it's not just parents that's fighting. We have seen students fighting as well at graduation. And like I said before, it's unfortunate because your last memory of high school is that graduation, right? This is even if you're talking like elementary school, middle school, one, I don't remember me growing up having all those graduations, right? I remember preschool graduating, and then I remember high school graduating. They might did like a little, I remember when I was in fifth grade, they did like a fifth grade ceremony, but it really wasn't a graduation. Eighth grade, they didn't do anything like that. But it seemed like everybody's graduating now these days. But the fact that, you have parents fighting with other parents, you have students fighting with, you know, other students, other parents at these high school graduations, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a shame too that this stuff is going on, and we have been seeing a lot of videos um showing these fights going on. All right. Not only have these fights been going on, but you've seen we have seen videos. And before I mention this, I just want to say I'm kind of like on both sides of the argument on this one, where you've only seen it on the high school level, right? Students, um, once they get their diploma in their hand, they off the cuff going doing their dance in a way to where it's pretty much, um, I guess you could say, disrupting the whole ceremony, right? Um, I can see both sides of the argument, in terms of you have some parents, and y'all seen the videos of these graduates dancing, and we're not talking about after the ceremony was over. We're talking about during the ceremony while it's still going on. And no, you hear parents saying there is a time and a place for everything, which it is a very true statement. Um, and then you have other parents say they should celebrate. They worked hard for it. I can see that as well. But I think it's at a point where after the ceremony is over, cool. During the ceremony, wait till everybody's name is called. Because, parents out there, they want to hear their child's name called, right? And again, it goes back to the fighting thing. Don't disrupt the ceremony and make it about you. Um, I think that's where, some of the videos I've seen, you know, um, clips been going around. I know some major news outlets have put it up um on their programming, websites, social media. You see it through and through. I think if it was done at a minimum, I don't see a problem with it. But when you go far and beyond to where it's basically is disrupting, I can see where that could be an issue as well. So, um, for the most part, I get it, but I don't know, maybe I'm from the era where we were just trying to get through the thing and just go. When I graduated high school, when I graduated college, my thing was let's get through this. Now, and I don't know how graduations are in other places, but where I'm from, graduations are like less than an hour, right? So they do like two, maybe three speeches that's like maybe 5 minutes long at best. They call the names, and it's over within the hour. All right. Um, Now some ceremonies, it might take more than that, depending on your class size. I guess that's how you should say. But when I graduated, we were just trying to hear our name called. Yeah, we had people, scream our names, doing all of that. But then after that, we were just trying to like, hey, let's get this going. We trying to get out of here. We trying to, I don't know how some of y'all did it, but we had barbecues at our homes, and then we hit up the graduation parties later on that night. I don't know how they do it today, but what I do know is this: we weren't trying to stop a ceremony, for. all that stuff, right? We were just let's get this over with, right? Let's get it over with. But now you see it, maybe social media does have an influence on it. Um, you see these kids, yeah, they're excited. Is a big accomplishment for a lot of these students. We don't know what they've been through, but at the same time, I can understand like you don't want to disrupt the ceremony and make it all about you, right? And that one principal, I forgot, I think it was maybe somewhere in Louisiana or something, basically threatened to shut down the ceremony because of the actions of the graduates. Um, is he right? I think so. Some people saying that some people don't see what the issue is, which I think it is a problem too. There's nothing wrong with doing a small celebration, kind of like how they do in the NFL, college, something small. But if you go over the top, they give you a flag, a sportsmanlike conduct. Um, I don't see anything wrong with a small celebration from the students, because they're happy. Um, but at the same time, you know, I think keep it at a minimum. I think that should be all right. Because I know if when my child graduates and I can't hear her name because somebody over here is acting up, they want to make it all about them and their family is going off. Oh, it's gonna be a major problem. It's gonna be a major problem and it's gonna be addressed. And I know I'm not gonna be the only parent, especially your child's name is next after that, then some people will have a lot of people have issues with it, so um yeah, the fights, the celebrations, we talked about that. Now I want to talk about this. All right. So if y'all haven't seen, I know y'all probably seen it on the news, social media, Centennial High School in Franklin, Tennessee. They graduated. Congratulations to those graduates. But I also um feel bad for the graduates because they had a outdoor graduation ceremony, which a lot of schools do that outdoor ceremony. Unlike indoors where students they probably have a certain number of tickets that they could give out, to family and stuff like that. Um, which when I graduated, it was nothing like that. But because of the way that my hometown is growing, I could see why they only limited to like 10 tickets. With that being said, if you're doing the football stadium, you can make it unlimited, right? But this particular graduation in Franklin, Tennessee, these graduates, their last memory in high school is receiving their high school diploma in the pouring rain. And I'm not talking about just, a drizzle, something like that, or light rain. We're talking about heavy rain. And they continue on with the ceremony, which I know for me, if I was I would have been mad. I would have been mad because, this is the type of accomplishment that, you waited for. From the moment you start pre-K or kindergarten all the way through high school, and this is the lasting moment of you. A lot of kids are not going on to college, right? No, I'm not the type of person to say go to college because I understand that for a lot of kids, college is not might not be the best path for them. But to sit down in the rain, pouring rain, cap and gown, which you have to pay for, soaking wet, you walking across that stage, um, and you're receiving your diploma. I think it was just dead wrong. I don't know how many students graduated in that class. I couldn't really tell you, but just from the looks of it, I could tell those students weren't happy. A lot of parents weren't happy. Um, you did have a lot of people commenting saying they knew, you know, they knew that the rain was coming. They should have dressed for the occasion. And my comment is this: if they knew that this rain is coming, why not have a plan B, right? Why not have a plan B, um, in case of weather like that, right? I don't think a student should have this. First off, this is not a football game where, you're expected when there's a football game going on, these teams are expected to play in the rain. Not lightning rain, it was just heavy rain. But that's part of the culture. But when it comes to graduation, you gotta have a plan B. You gotta have a plan B. Um, I know they're probably talking about it for next year just in case. I don't know how often it happens. Um, but it's sad to see these students in a way go out in the rain, right? I would be mad personally if I was receiving my high school diploma in those conditions. I'll be upset to the point where I probably wouldn't even visit the school at all after that, right? I don't know if there's like a nearby college around that area to where they could have done it at. I know in my hometown they do it at all the high school graduations are done at Austin Peay State University. Um, so it's obviously it's indoors, and so you don't have to worry about that aspect of it, right? If it does rain, you might have to deal with the rain going in, but in terms of sitting outside watching the ceremony, you don't have to worry about the weather outside, okay? You're indoors. I know for me, I can sit there and be like, okay. But once they receive their diploma, I'm like, come on, let's go. Once you got it, let's go. Because this is ridiculous. That's how I would have been as a parent. Let's go. This is, and I know they're not going to do a do-over because you got a lot of people you know, they're looking at it as like, okay, you got your diploma, let's move on from it. But they could have been done better. It could have been done better. Could have been planned better, but it wasn't planned better. And that's the unfortunate part about it. And I feel bad for those students who had to sit in the rain, really couldn't enjoy the biggest milestone so far in um their young lives, right? Is graduation. And it couldn't be me. I'm just gonna say it right now. It couldn't be me. And if anybody has a problem with it, so be it. But no way. There's no way I'm gonna sit there and allow that to happen. Not especially my child. They come, they dress for the event, they tell you, um, shirt ties, dresses and things like that. But they walk across that stage with what they have on their feet. What happens if they slip and fall and somebody gets hurt? Don't think about that, don't you? So, um, yeah, so it just got to be done better. And I know there's a lot of graduations um that hold their ceremonies outdoors at the football stadium. Like that school in Texas where they had like 1,700 graduates. Can you imagine being in the class with like 1,700 graduates from one school? Man, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I don't know if they called out all the names, but if they did, oh man, we don't need speeches. We just need to go and start calling names right then and there. or they probably should have broke it up over maybe a 3 day, 4 day event. Like, okay, this is last name starting from A to whatever, and then so forth. Break it down. That's a lot. I can't sit through nothing like that. But congratulations to all the graduates. Again, you all deserve it. Um, they can't take that away from you. You put in the work. Um, whatever you have next, whatever you decide to do next, I hope everything works out for you. Um, so enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. All right. Another thing too, since I've been gone, um, that we haven't really I've seen a lot of, but I guess I'm gonna go ahead and touch on it since I've pretty much kind of brought it up. When it comes to high school, obviously we know graduation is the one thing we look forward to the most. The second thing we look forward to the most is prom. All right. Um, and I know that probably, some places still going to have their proms going on right now. Some have already had their proms. But the biggest thing is these prom send-offs, right? And you hear a lot of people complaining about these prom send-offs, how, you know, a lot of people go so far out, right? You see helicopter rides, you see parents renting these luxury cars, you see kids flashing their money. Uh, I don't know if it's real or fake, but they're flashing money and all this stuff. Um, Going all out for prom. For me, the way I see it is this. If that's something that the parents want to do, that's what they going to do. You know, it's prom night. Again, you probably don't know. They probably have saved up all through, since the kid was in high school or even before then, up to this point. They probably already had a set budget of um what they have in mind in terms of, the dress, the tuxedos, the accessories, everything that goes into prom outside of buying prom tickets and things. And do I think now for me, is it a little over the top? For me, yes. But if that's something that the parents are willing to do and they got the money to do it and they're not struggling or anything like that, then that's them. Again, like I said, they probably have saved up to this point. So they have money put aside. Like I said, we all can't really, I mean, you can judge because they put it out there on social media, but we don't know their financial situation to where they probably, again, they're probably good with money and they had this set aside for this particular moment in time. Because prom is a big deal for most students, right? It is a big deal. But when it comes to, some other people um, who are judging, these prom send-offs, basically saying um, they better not, give financial aid in school because you basically, you know, put all that money into prom. Who said that the kid is going to college? We don't know what their plans are. Who said that the kid don't have a scholarship? Who said that, the parents don't have money, to pay for college out of pocket? We don't know these things, right? So a lot of times we go by based on what we see. I mean, I get it. Times are different. When I went to prom, we didn't really have, you know, um, we had a send off, but it wasn't like this extravagant now. It's kind of like how baby showers are today. They make it so extravagant today. Same thing with prom send offs. Um, this is one of those nights that they always going to remember. And if a parent wants to, if a parent wants to go all out for their child for prom, that's their choice. Who are we to say you shouldn't do that? It's their choice, right? And then, if something happens later on the road, that's on them. They got to deal with it, not the child. Y'all got to remember the child ain't spending this money. Like it's the parents, So I don't see what the issue is. I see a lot of tuxedos out there, suits that looks absolutely great. I see a lot of couples going to prom. You know, I mean, they're matching. You can tell they put a lot of effort in terms of their attire into going to prom, which we did too. You think about it, the matching colors, stuff like that. That's what you did, right? Um, and of course, with social media, everything is on a whole nother level. So I don't see the problem is, again, parents want to go out for that, let them do that. If they got financial issues after that, then that's something that they have to deal with. But again, and I'm pretty sure they probably have sat down and talked with their kids about budget wise and what's what. And you might not ever know. They probably know people that can help out. They might have a friend who is, a tailor or whoever, somebody who made the dress for 'em, as a gift and things like that. So we just don't know. We just don't know. But again, sometimes some of it is a little bit over the top. I will admit that, but again, that's on that's on the parents. Okay. And speaking of that, prom, I know there's been pictures circulating around with some of the young ladies in their prom dresses, and I know proms have dress codes and everything like that. And yes, I'm pretty sure they probably didn't get in because of the dress, how it's too revealing and things like that. As a parent, you should know that. You don't really want your child to, that's too revealing. And you know that, so if a school has a dress code, abide by the dress code, that's that. I've seen, only seen a couple, but it seemed like every year you get the same thing, just a few. But for the most part, a lot of the attire that both the young men and young women are wearing has been absolutely amazing. So, you know, for the most part, it's been great. It's been great. So you can't get mad at that, but yeah. And then for the one, like I said, for the few bad ones out there, to put it out there on social media, and of course you're gonna have certain ones that's gonna defend it, right? Um, I would understand if it's just a photo shoot, even at that age. I'm like, I don't want my daughter to be that revealing. But if it's for prom and they have certain rules, because I know when I went to prom 20 years ago, there were certain um, rules and regulations we had to follow, right? And the dress code was one of them. So uh, it's just as a student, and as parents, all right. So that's that. I mean, for those who are judging these parents, when in terms of prom, them going all out for their kids for prom, listen, it's their kid. I mean, you don't have to agree with it. That's okay. But it is their kid. We don't know their situations. Again, you know, probably their child got a scholarship to where they can use that money. or some of that money, I should say, to go all out for prom. And then, they probably got more saved up. You know, we don't know. But if they're able to do it and don't have to worry about, the finances later on and all of that, go for it. Times are different. Times are different these days. So uh go for it. And the last thing before I go, I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been supporting the podcast. Be sure to follow Drain Up the Dark Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the podcast. Um, y'all know what I usually drink on my Crown Vanilla, but I do have the Crown Chocolate. I do have Guidance Whiskey. Anything else I should try, please leave it in the comments, man. And um, who knows? We'll see. Maybe do some reviews and things like that. You know, switch it up some. All right. But here's the last thing I want to talk about before I get out of here. Parents, parents. I gotta, we gotta, I gotta say this right now. In today's, in today's world that we live in, right? Again, times are different. There's no way you should not know how well your kid is doing in school. There is no way, okay? In terms of the grades that they're getting, the assignments that they're missing, even the days that they have missed. There's no way you should not know what's going on with your kid and their education, unless you just flat out don't care. Okay? If you flat out don't care, I don't know what to tell you. But if you knew, and I know I saw a clip where a kid or a parent didn't know their kid was graduating. In our school system, we use Power School. So we know we know who teaches the class, right? Especially in elementary school they have one teacher, but when they get to that middle school, um, the middle school grades, they have multiple teachers. So we know who teaches that class. We know what assignments are due. We know what the grades that they're getting. We know what their grades is during the course of the entire year, right? Um, Even if a kid missed school, we will always get a notification that, hey, your kid is not at school today. And a lot of times, some parents know because they doctor's appointment, they're gonna have a doctor's note to take. We get all that. Okay. But stay on top of it. I mean that they tell you to download the app. All you gotta do is just check it. I check my daughter's grades every day, right? And I stay on top of it. And I could probably say I'm a parent of a kid that's on the honor roll, been on the honor roll all year round. Okay. And if my daughter tells me she got it, she got it. She gives me no other reason not to believe her. Okay. So what I'm saying is, as a parent, if your kid is going to graduate or is expected to graduate, stay on top of their grades. You know what's going on. They put it in in the apps, right? They updated they all the assignments, this and that. You should know what's going on, right? And then and then, you know, if you know your kid is struggling in their schoolwork, it's okay to reach out to the teachers, or maybe you could find, your kid some help to get the grades up. I'm not saying that every kid is going to be an all A or AB honor roll student, but but to me, there's no way that um your kid should not. perform at a higher level than we did because we didn't have all this information basically at our fingertips, right? So I just don't see how that's not possible. Now, again, if your kid tries really hard and they get like a C in class, but you know they gave it everything they got, that's something you should be proud of, right? Because you can see them trying, right? Um, but if your kid just ain't doing anything because of laziness, th that's a problem. And as a parent, you shouldn't get mad because as a parent, you should stay on top of that. You should definitely stay on top of that. So, um, for the parents out there, if don't be surprised when your kid when they say, "Hey, your kid is not going to graduate," and they tell you why, because all year round you should have been keeping track as well. Is that I have the app. I know a lot of parents have the app, whatever apps that these school systems use. For us as Power School, I keep track on everything that my child does, and you should too. All right. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in with me tonight. I appreciate you guys taking your time out to listen to uh listen to the episode. Um Again, make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about it. Also, any ideas of what I should uh I should try or whatever, different type of drinks, please let me know. We'll get all that stuff taken care of. We'll make it happen. All right. Until next time, I'm Darius. We out. Peace.